Tonight, Italy, the world's hotspot now with the highest number of deaths. The United States calls for their citizens to return home or shelter in place. Good evening, this is Force 13 Live, another special edition here from Force 13 HQ with the latest on the coronavirus, which will not go away from the top headlines for quite some time yet. My name's Nathan Foy, and joining me tonight, as always, is our quite established now Discord team, consisting of several people. Tonight we've got Sam, Strat, Lee, David, Gidrius, and Parker. Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
As you can see on the world map right now, this is the Johns Hopkins University map showing the case count, which, again, the World Health Organization, let's just show you theirs briefly. They're at 207,000, Johns Hopkins at 237,996 right now. And again, you can see the spread of cases. They say 81,000 in China, 41,000 in Italy. Some massive increases across Europe today in particular. And of course, over in America, things appear to be going up that ramp as well. But first of all, why don't we start with David over there on the east coast of Australia, waking up to another day there, Friday morning now. If he's there with
David's
us.
on mute.
David's not here.
David's not here yet.
Yeah,
this happened last time, didn't it? Well, he is streaming live to Facebook as well, if I'm not mistaken. Let's hope so anyway. So let's go further west then. We're going to go from east to west. Let's talk to Gidrius in Lithuania tonight. Has the situation changed over there today at all?
Well, the lockdown is still the same.
Yeah.
But we have recently hit 41 cases. We have recorded the second and third cases of domestic infection, including medical worker, which means that about 100 people in one city had to be self-isolated, basically, from that hospital. And China gifted 20,000 medical masks. And that's pretty much it for news for today.
China giving a lot of masks out across the world at this point. They're in Italy earlier in the week, last week now I think it was, giving their advice, some of the doctors that were treating it in Wuhan, and countries all around the world trying to help each other, generally speaking. David, you're with us now. Hello.
Hi Nathan, and same to the viewers over here nationally. The scene continues to worsen. Cited a news report where a 12-month-old child has contracted the disease, and from Canberra, the country's now in lockdown. The federal government has advised anybody planning to depart Australia for the other countries to reconsider. You cannot come into the country, and the economic costs is skyrocketing. We've got the Reserve Bank board reduced official rates to the lowest on record, and the Reserve Bank is now printing money. I think it's 100 million, it could be billions that are being injected into the economy, but it's definitely worsening over here, and the cases are also skyrocketing.
How many in Australia now? 700 and something?
710, I think it is, Nathan.
Okay.
Yes, it is, David.
Here in the UK, the case numbers have risen by another 600 plus to about 3,200 and something or other. It might be on that screen, actually, if we can... Well, actually, it's saying lower there for some reason, but we do believe, Lee, it's over 3,000 now, right?
It is, yes.
and you're in the central or southern central part of Scotland. Has it reached your community yet?
Let's say it limits to Lanarkshire anyway, but it's, the closest one to me is Hamilton, I would say.
Now,
So-
financially,
33 people have it here.
all right, interest rates here as well being cut to 0.1% here in the UK. I think that was today. My neck of the woods, Greater Manchester, reached 100 cases today. That's a population of about 2.1 million. My particular area, population about 350,000. Just looking up the numbers, only 4 cases in this region at the moment, so a very small number. But London really is the worst affected place in the UK, probably as you would expect, and things really changing in the capital, or are they? Because you saw the Prime Minister's press conference today. Once again, he's been doing regular updates about 5 p.m. every evening, and acknowledging really, and some of the questioners in the press, saying that London, it hasn't really heeded much of the warnings at all, and whether that's going to change very much over the coming days remains to be seen. They said they're going to keep transport open, public transport. We don't anticipate any lockdowns in this country anytime soon, at least on the scale of other countries, obviously Italy being the prime example these days. But cases continue to rise here. Death toll now, what was it again? Over 100, is it now?
144.
144. I think that's up.
Yeah.
Is that up 30 today, was it?
Yes, it is.
So that's the current state of play here. Let's go to Samuel. What's going on over there in Illinois?
Well, unfortunately, we have recorded 3 more coronavirus deaths, and as the case number has now climbed to 422 cases. And the mayor has Mayor of Chicago has imposed that all of those infected with the coronavirus are heavily advised to stay home, and is now under a legal order. We've also seen shelter-in-place order has also been issued the suburb of Oak Park, which is kind of strange considering that given how close that is to Chicago, I don't understand why they wouldn't expand it to at least include the rest of Chicago. But yeah, there are still some places like libraries open here, and I know it's going to be only a matter of time before Chicago does order shelter in place. So
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a short break here and show you a roundup of some of the countries out there and the latest situation. And then we'll be back with some of your questions as well, live on the air. Flights between the Spanish mainland and some of its islands have been restricted or shut down completely as case numbers continue to soar. The United Kingdom has seen another increase in cases by around 600 or more. The Queen has left Buckingham Palace 1 week early for Windsor Castle, where she will spend the Easter period. Case numbers in Canada reach 800, with a death toll now of 10, one more than yesterday. New Brunswick now under a state of emergency declared today. Brazil remains the worst hit country in South America with over 600 cases and now 7 fatalities, an increase of 3 today. Cases across South America are increasing significantly at this time. And if you have your own story locally or regionally about the coronavirus, send us a message on any of our mediums and we'll put it to air. Facebook, Twitter, and through email at contact@force13.com. CoronaBeat live on Force 13, and let's take some of your questions then, because we are here to serve above everything else. So it would seem a bit pointless not to take people's questions. Start your message with Force 13 all in text on our YouTube chat right now, or you can send a message through Facebook on David's stream there. He's running that tonight, as always. How many people have coronavirus in Finland? Well, looking at this map, the latest number there, what is it? 400 now, just reaching 400 with 390 active. The other 10 that have reached a conclusion all resulted in recoveries. Should point out the graph at the bottom right-hand side, which is underneath me, just turn myself off for a minute there. Today's number is 23,100. That is the highest number so far during the whole outbreak. The previous highest was 18,800 3 days ago. And you might want to ignore that first spike in China as well, because that was because of underreporting and just playing catch up there. So really, this spike is much larger than the China one. As a matter of fact, about 5 times larger than the China one would have been so far. Maybe 4 times larger, but still an incredible number. And the peak could still be yet to come. We don't really know. Let's talk to Parker about what's going on in Indiana.
Well, surprisingly, I kind of wasn't paying attention at all until now, but now we have 56 confirmed cases, which we had, as you remember, yesterday we had 39. So now we have 56 cases. You can see Marion County reporting 19 cases with 1 death there. Then you have Howard, 5 cases, a recent spike up here to the north. Now you see getting around 8 up there as well. And then some of these southern counties are really starting to pop off, as you can see. So with the lack of testing kits still, it's very concerning how many counties that actually have the coronavirus, how many don't. I've actually came in contact with someone that was confirmed with it, but that was about a week ago. So I will be self-isolating for a while now. But until then, it's very interesting seeing what's going to be evolving, I guess, now, because with the recent travel restriction, they put an orange travel restriction, which means pretty much stay in your place unless you have to go do something or somewhere. But yeah, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
I don't know if Lee knows the answer to this question. I don't. About how many cases in Dumfries and Galloway at the moment. I don't have numbers on that right now.
I'll get that for you. Definitely in a wee minute.
Great. Let's see what else we've got. How do we think Spain will evolve? And I guess now's the time. I'm personally big on the stats. I think Strat is big on stats as well. And we've been looking, trying to make the best projections that we can.
Dumfries and Galloway, sorry, has
Go
got
ahead.
6.
6. Okay.
Dumfries and Galloway's got 6.
Trying to make the best projections going forward, Strat. It's not an easy thing to do, obviously. So I guess rather than saying how many cases there are going to end up being, it's probably best to say how much worse is it going to get. And from the best estimates I can see here, Spain could get as much as 6 times worse than what it currently is.
And we're still at least somewhat, flying at least a little bit without full information on just because, lot to discover about it. But Spain can still get many more cases than it has right now. Today's number is the highest daily total for them so far. Over 3,300 new cases today, which makes them the second highest national total globally at this point in time, with Germany close behind them. Over 18,000 cases there now. And this is a departure from a time period where for most of the past week, they had kind of been in this more plateau zone of between 2,000 and 1,600 or so cases a day was their range mostly. And then yesterday broke out to over 2,900 cases there. And today so far is already over 10% more than that. So an acceleration of cases in Spain is possible in a similar way to what we're seeing in Italy at this point in time. And Germany is also on par to continue to see an increase in cases as well.
But tell us about Italy, because that's increased even more today, hasn't it?
Yeah. At first it looked like Italy might have had some sort of semblance of a slowdown. They had 2 days with a decrease in cases a while ago, like late last week. So March 15th and 16th were declining days in total, and then yesterday broke out to over 4,000 new cases in the country for the first time for daily total. Of course, surprising with the death amount there too, 475 yesterday, and then today blew things out of the water with over 5,000 new cases and another over 400 deaths. So Italy right now not is more than halfway to China's total amount of cases. They also have recorded now more deaths than China has as well. They're at
Yeah, I've seen it.
3,405 reported deaths now as well. So the situation in Italy, despite the mostly national lockdown that's occurred, is still spiraling out of control, some would say. And some of that has to go to what Chinese medical experts that were dealing with the lockdown and quarantines in Wuhan are saying is not strict enough measures to keep people inside. They're saying that because some people are still able to go outside and go to restaurants and stuff, even in lockdown areas, the virus is being able to continue to spread. Unfortunately, not at a checked enough pace to really slow it down. As Italy's really started to see a new acceleration in new cases at this point in
Our
time.
best estimate with Italy is that the peak is probably still around 2.5 weeks away. Would you agree with that?
I mean, depending on whether or not we see a large second burst of cases out in the south of Italy, a lot of the virus cases are, majority of them have been in the northern region in Lombardy and Venetia. If it manages to gain a stronger footing for the country, then you could see potential prolonged maximum exposure for the country. If they're able to keep other parts of the country further in check, then you could see sooner rather than later, hopefully.
All right. More questions. How many cases does Texas have? On this map here showing 223 with 220 active and 3 deaths so far. Let's see, what else have we got? I think a lot came through just then. There've been loads.
I'm looking for some as well.
Go ahead.
I'm looking for some right now.
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to find something here. People talking about Canada a lot on there as well.
Oh, I have one.
Canada's getting a bit of an uptick in cases. I think we showed it earlier. They're over 800 now, I think, right?
800, yeah. 801.
Okay.
Comparatively to America, their total count is still significantly lower at this point in time. Although, definitely something to have to continue to monitor.
All right, Parker, go ahead.
Someone said, how do you feel about the approximate $7 trillion spent in stimulus so far? I would know more about this, I'm pretty sure.
Well, we'll get onto the finance part and all of that stuff in the latter segment of our production tonight. We're also joined by Justin once again in New York State. How are you tonight?
Hello. Did you hear about Prime Minister of the UK ordering that all schools in the UK be shut down?
That was yesterday's news, yes.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Oh.
That's old news. That.
It will.
I didn't know about it until now.
Yeah, it will happen after Friday.
Right.
They've cancelled the summer exams as well in the UK, so effectively and conceivably, schools may not be back in session in this country until September.
Which means the school year might have just been cut short.
Yeah.
For
for mostly young children, that isn't as much of a problem as if it is once you get to at least high school years where you actually need to complete a certain amount of courses to graduate high school. So considering how individual schools approach that globally, down the line might have a problem of a decent amount of people having to redo certain parts of the year education wise.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it doesn't come to that for anyone.
Let's just point out that schools won't be completely shut in the UK, by the way. There are select groups of children that will be staying in. I believe it's children of key workers.
Yes.
Which I still don't think has been fully identified as to what a key worker actually is, a frontline worker. Obviously, you've got the health people, but there's a lot of services out there when you think about it, and there's discussions about that today. Obviously, you've got all of the emergency services, but then you've got things like, the postal workers and all those kinds of people. It's quite important that all that keeps going as well. So it's an interesting thing as to what actually amounts to a key worker. But obviously, emergency service is number one. And I think, is it children with extra needs as well? They're staying in, I think.
All right,
Yes.
Yeah. Justin?
Oh, it's just nothing. I just wanted to just move on.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's do that. Well, I guess we'll take another short break here, and then we'll chat more about the financial implications once again with Strat. During this special coverage, we'd like to hear from you and the situation in your area. Send images, video, or audio recordings to contact@force13.com, and we'll put them to air. welcome back, Force 13 Live. This is CoronaBeat once again. This is, I think, the 8th day that we've been running this now, is it? Or at least it feels like it. No, I think it's only 7. But we are live once again. And one of those, you saw a few new countries popping up on that list there. Bermuda not so long ago, and also Fiji as well. I don't know if David's got any information about that in particular.
Yeah, I just got to put a quick update in as well. United States numbers just updated again to over 4,000 cases today now. So United States is second globally in confirmed cases just since today. More than half of those are just in the state of New York as well. There's over 2,000 people in New York today.
Wow.
Rapid concerns arising very quickly now that the New York City area will basically become a Lombardy and Milan-like scenario if drastic action isn't taken almost immediately. The tri-state area has been seeing a rapid increase in cases.
So are they looking to enforce martial law there?
It wouldn't be martial law. It'd just be a shelter-in-place order similar to what they're doing out in the Bay Area.
New York said last night, I think it was, that they're not going to go on lockdown, didn't they?
That may be a crucial mistake in this point in time.
Yeah, I honestly think
I'm someone that I would
it's a pretty idiotic mistake to make at this point.
Yeah, I would be someone personally put on lockdown myself because I'm in a neighboring county to New York City. If they put New York City on lockdown, the surrounding areas would also have to be put on lockdown to stop just an excess of people. It could be proving to be a severe mistake if they don't change things immediately, because now the second highest daily reporter of cases is New Jersey, right bordering New York City, of course, with over 300 new cases today. Their statewide totals almost doubled as well. So a very potentially.
If you look at the map, you can see where the hotspots are in the US. Obviously, there's Washington, 1,187 confirmed cases. California, 904. New York, 4,158. New Jersey, 742. Not sure what the next biggest one is after that. But
that New York number is over 5,300 now after the new update that just came in. Johns Hopkins University is a great source to get a conglomerate. Usually takes them just a couple hours, a lag time to really get everything. Still significantly better than who.
Well, let's talk. Well, let's not. Let's go.
Just the data.
A lot of money is obviously going to be pumped into the economy, but also a lot of money is being spent to try and find the answers to this virus. Strat, do you want to tell us a bit about all that?
I can give some insight on some of the economic situations going on. Parker's got the screen share thing, which for some reason my screen share isn't working.
Oh, really?
This is going to show specifically how stark some of the economic impacts may be from this. That image, that Parker screen sharing, is the unemployment claims from last week. Is the very last line there. Spiked by 25% for last week numbers to 81,000, which is the highest number since 2017. The problem is that only includes data up to previous Saturday, so when our second day of coverage or third day of coverage, so far this week in the state of California alone, there's been well over 200,000 claims at minimum. Ohio's seen over 50,000. Pennsylvania's seen similar numbers. Connecticut's seeing very large amounts. Massachusetts so far this week saw more than all of last month. So next week's numbers are going to be crucial to watch because it would not be surprised to see the initial unemployment claim numbers next week spike to being well over 1 million. Would be a very easy estimate to make at this point in time with some of the states that are giving out an initial data partway through the week, and that's going to show potentially catastrophic financial impacts, which will probably drastically increase the urge of legislators to really pass this stimulus package through. I know Senate Republicans are introducing a $1 trillion aid proposal, which will include checks directly to Americans depending on certain income thresholds. The Democrat proposal that passed the House Finance Committee yesterday would also give $2,000 a month to all adults on net worth is above $1 million and $1,000 a month for every child, unless the net worth of the family is over $1 million. It's going to be interesting because both of those will probably pass their respective chambers to see what kind of reconciliation they make. But there will be money coming into the hands of Americans, fortunately, in the meanwhile. Also, last night, foreclosures and certain payments of loans were suspended, at least temporarily, for the time being. I think the simplest answer, just say, is, looking back on this years down the road, there will never be criticism for not putting enough stimulus in to try to help people. There would only be criticism if you didn't do enough in such an important time period.
Should we move on to figure 2 then?
Uh,
the other image that you put up for
Yeah, or you want to put it really quick? That's just
Yep,
the performance of the S&P index. The general market today ended up very slightly after a pretty sharp decline in the morning. It just kind of shows continued volatility as, investors and, the American economy in general didn't see any bad news today necessarily, but there wasn't any good news really to lift it up either. So we're still in this range kind of instability. There's increased urges for and the airlines to get bailed out, and there's still tons of different proposals as to how that would work out. It is becoming increasingly likely that the federal government will actually take stock in certain private companies that they bail out. Trump said that was a possibility today himself, and the Federal Reserve earlier this week opened up stocks as a collateral for certain loan payments and things that they're opening the system, try to keep liquidity within the markets at this point in time. It's very important to kind of keep the economy running as discretionary spending has ground to a halt, and there's not even including the coronavirus itself. We're also dealing with the whole of the problem in the southern United States with oil prices still taking an absolute beating. We're still very concerned about heavy layoffs potentially coming in the very near future. So I'll definitely be keeping updates on any economic news that comes to the front. Most of the things today have just been rehashes of yesterday.
It really is, isn't it? It feels that way.
With the airlines begging for aid and stuff, and stimulus packages being introduced. The big news today really was seeing the spike in unemployment claims last week, giving potential very ominous sign of what we could see in 7 days next Thursday morning when the next data points come out.
All right, people asking about a lot of different states. Oklahoma was one that came up there. Not many cases there. Well, I say not many. There are 46, but compared to some of the other states, just go through some of the larger ones there. Texas 223, Louisiana 347, Florida 390. We went through Illinois already, 295 there. Massachusetts 256, Connecticut 97, Strat. Colorado 221. So there's a lot of cases dotted around the country. Over in Canada as well, further north, Ontario 257, British Columbia 231. Those are the highest. Quebec 121 there as well, and generally everywhere else is lower. But you go around the world and looking at those dots and the size of those dots.
I guess the most important thing when talking about American cases as well is that we're still dealing with a massive shortage of test kits here in America too. So any numbers that we really see aren't necessarily, unfortunately, reflective of the true scope of the potential crisis that we may be dealing with here. In Massachusetts yesterday, they had to start rationing tests because they didn't have enough swabs to collect test samples with, even. And in my state of Connecticut, if you're not showing symptoms, you can't get a test. They're saving only for people with symptoms, which is a problem when you look at countries that have implemented mass testing, like South Korea. The singular age demographic.
And again, the thing is, Strat, it could be, from what we're seeing so far, possibly 50% don't show symptoms.
Yeah, and that becomes even notably a problem further when you see that South Korea, which implemented mass testing, the age demographic with the most infections there was the cases there was ages 20 to 29, which accounted for almost 30% of the total cases there. Wow. That becomes a problem when that's a possibility here in America as well, but we can't test the people because they're not showing enough symptoms or not severe enough, because it means they might not know they're even sick and be still pretty quickly spreading the disease around without really giving much notice to it. That's why there's a very heavy criticism of college students on spring break in Florida, and a video that came out yesterday showing that, they said, that they didn't really care about the situation, that they just wanted to be out and
A
party. And,
lot of
through the
people are
through the
like that,
whole,
isn't it,
PSA
unfortunately?
system right now, they're trying to, how important social distancing is. We're talking about that on stream, see all over social media, in the news. It's frustrating to see people flat out ignoring that, to say the least.
Yep, they do exist. An update from one of our partners in Mauritius, Rakesh, who was on our live event a few days ago. 7 cases confirmed there in Mauritius now, with a general confinement in place. David, any questions through our Facebook page?
No, just the posting about Mauritius, and our second biggest food retailer, due to the panic buying, 3 times the amount of money that they people spend at Christmas. So
And,
3 Christmases.
Do you know anything about this first case that's now in Fiji as well?
No, I haven't got anything on that one, but I believe that there's a spawning team that have been in lockdown due to possibly having it. But our next update, I'll see what info I can find coming out.
Gidrius, you've got some more news for us.
Yeah. Mobile checkpoints for the virus, basically where people are treated from their cars, are now open in Vilnius and Kaunas, which are the capital and second largest city respectively. Medical workers have received 200,000 euros within 30 hours in donations, equivalent to $215,000. So they are reporting that they have a lack of supplies, so which is not necessarily good. And the Health Protection
so the
Ministry,
medical workers there are raising a lot of money right now.
Yeah. And the Health Protection Ministry now only allows 1 family at a time in playgrounds and no more than 5 people in groups in parks. And that's pretty much it for now.
Alright, so those are the latest methods over there in Lithuania right now. Obviously, different countries taking different actions, all slightly different depending on where you are. Here in the UK, still slightly slack, to be quite honest, which is interesting to see. And of course, we'll continue to watch the situation here as it continues to develop. I think that's everything from us now. I don't know if anyone else has got anything for us.
Other than to say that, everyone watching, wishing the best of health, and to urge you all to continue your social distancing and following the orders of local officials when it comes to any potential shutdowns that may be occurring. Even if you're not particularly vulnerable to getting acutely ill, not only loved ones for you, but other people may very well be. So to be mindful of yourself and others in these times, and that, together we'll get through this.
Well, indeed, a lot of optimistic words that have been put out by some corners as well, including here in the UK. They're sounding a little bit happier today, but we'll see whether that's valid as we finish up here.
I do want to add some news that I saw last night. Hawaii County in Hawaii has imposed a curfew between the hours 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Kauai.
So Kauai County.
All right, 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. curfew in place. That's it from us tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow. I assume it will be the same time. We'll put it out on social media, probably 9 p.m. UTC. Until then, well, stay safe out there. It's quite important right now.